live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the Afternoon Swing Trading Floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. Folks, someone told me it was Tuesday today. Is that true? Is today Tuesday? Tech Giant Tuesday in the building. I am pumped to discuss some of the tickers that we got on deck today. Who's all here? Oh, the crew. Sylvan's here, Charles, Damian, Bob, Jill, Albert, December, Sharon, Mark. I love it. Tomorrow is Wednesday with an I. I did have a profitable day today. Well, day trading. Last night I got stopped out of a trade, so technically I'm down overall. I'll share that with you in just a little bit, but very, very small losing day today because of a futures trade, and that is perfectly acceptable. I love losing small because tomorrow I can one good trade and I'm green for April, and that's perfectly acceptable. So I will look at the SPY. We did make a higher high today by a few pennies. And again, this gap that we got yesterday is masterfully strong. This gap will fill. It is just going to be a question of when. When does it fill? I do not know the answer to that, but I think we can and probably will slowly go up a little bit higher, most likely. And it could be next week before we actually get the pullback, but trade a little bit higher into the 288 range. Maybe there's some type of news that comes out on Friday. I think you have non-farm payroll, and there's going to be maybe some Trump announcements that come out with the China deal, the tariffs or whatever. And, you know, everyone's excited, and that's going to be the top. Sell the news, and then we get a little bit of a pullback into this gap. Most likely this gap fills. So this gap is a little different than this one because this one was a gap and go, and it was we weren't nearly as high as we are right now, and that gap has remained unfilled presently. So, you know, just based on this particular move, I think we most likely fill this gap. I mean, I'm 93% confident. It's a question of when. But since it's such a strong gap on a monthly chart and a weekly chart and a daily chart, I think we go a little bit higher. So the trade that I took last night was on the E-minis. And I think I still have it posted, or did I delete it? I did. Okay, I deleted it. So I'll share with you what it was. And I just have my stop a little too tight, which I knew I went to sleep thinking, man, I'm probably going to get stopped out and then it's going to bounce. And I almost got up and was like, all right, let me change my order, you know, do another order, like have a stop order and then get triggered in bullish. So this was last night. This was entry was here. And my stop was right here, 2865. So it was a 5-point stop on the E-minis. So 5-point stop, and what I should have done, looking at it was so clear that's where everyone's stops are going to be. Since we're a little extended, I should have just had a limit buy down here or done a second trade. So do a limit buy down here, you know, get stopped out, get in again. 2865 with a stop at like 2863, and that would have more than made up for it. So didn't happen. No big deal. I would have sold this morning right here, pretty much right before market opens when I would have gotten out, right when we make that new high. Check this out. Look how obvious this is. So again, I love looking at the E-minis because it can help you get an idea of what the SPY will do. Type in a 1 if you think there were some newbies buying that breakout right there. Definitely were some newbies buying, and they hopped on because that's the time to get in bullish. That's the confirmation, the new high. And so they buy there. They got smoked. And what does it do? Trades all the way back down to the price where I got in, where I would have gotten in again a second time, and it would have bounced. I see this happen very frequently. So I really love these charts. It's incredible how accurate. Look at this resistance, how well that resistance is holding. So tonight, my plan will be to get in down here with a stop around here somewhere. So I'll figure out, how we open, we'll see. But most likely, I'm just going to try to buy it right back down at these support levels, 2862.50, and set the stop loss probably something like that. That's 3 points, 2859.50. For those to trade the E-minis, just write down that's all I'm doing is just buying at support. There's no tricks. It's not hard. I'm just looking at playing this channel because it does look like a little bit of a channel is forming right now. So again, here's your resistance, gorgeous resistance, very nice little sell-off kind of towards the very, very close of the day. So that's the E-minis, that's the S&P futures. And again, in the SPY, we can see on the 15-minute chart, SPY is pulled back. So if you're looking at kind of an equal, where would I be buying on the SPY? It would be right here about 285. So you can see the charts, they really do mimic them, mimic each other. And they just, have a little bit more data and less gaps on the E-minis. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the SPY. Here's the Dow Jones. And the Dow Jones, we're retesting the retest gap. Most likely will fill at some point. The Qs had a very nice move today, I think. So the Qs did actually make a new high relative to yesterday as well. Continuing on just kind of with the bullish trend for the most part. It did make a higher high relative to this bullish candle. So the Qs were strong. Facebook really leading the way on the Qs today. Google, Apple, AMD, all of those run up nicely. So yeah, I think the Qs will probably continue up for a little bit longer. And again, just if you're in profitable, you're in some bullish positions, there will probably be an opportunity to take some gains relatively soon, or get into some collars, or just protect yourself, all that kind of stuff. So here's what we're looking at today. Here's the list. And let's dive in. First on the list is Arlo, and we're just watching to see if it's doing anything interesting, and it's not yet. Not yet. Hasn't broken above the 20 EMA. So that's what you're waiting for. It's boring. Hasn't done anything great. So we'll just move on until that looks interesting again. Baidu. So Baidu's been interesting because a lot of you are keeping your eyes on Baidu as an accumulation play based off of also the 100 simple on a monthly. So if you're looking at doing a Chinese play that is still quite low, that this is the Chinese Google, right? Baidu. They've been around forever. They're hanging out the 100 simple. They're consolidating. I mean, it's going to be an aggressive play. It's going to be a speculative position because, yes, this pattern could break down. It could break up. I really don't know. I mean, I never actually know specifically anything. But the weekly chart, I like the gap. You do have a little bit of a morning star. So if you're looking for a little bit more information from the candles, you could let this week close. And once the week closes, if we make a new high and we can get a break above or some type of candle that you like or volume or something, then you could hop on bullish. But the daily chart doesn't look bad. I mean, you are battling this 100 simple. If Baidu, in my opinion, closes above here, it's at least worth watching. Doesn't mean you have to get in bullish, but it doesn't mean that potentially. So if it closes above there, 174.78, good volume come in the last 2-3 days. You have the 100 on the daily and the weekly acting as some support and resistance. Something to think about, something to consider. You could just play it with a bull put spread or some put sales or some longer term calls. Longer term, maybe some out of the money calls just in case it really starts breaking out and running. That's Baidu. Roku straight up got us yesterday with the bearish swing trade. There was nothing I could do because I couldn't move my stop fast enough because that's just part of my plan. But it had an amazing bullish gap and go. Yesterday was straight up textbook. And as crazy as it sounds, team, if you're looking at going long, just go long on a pullback into that double bottom neckline. I mean, I was trapped. We were trapped. Sorry for being trapped. The good news is we use that information again on Friday. We said, hey guys, if it gaps up, it's going higher. It's going to trap us. It's going to stop us out. This is an incredibly strong bullish chart. We tried it. Everyone who went short in here is trapped. Type in a 3 if you think there's still people who are in there bearish who are still in, hoping it goes down. Yeah. So again, that's what stops are for. If you're doing a short-term trade, especially if it's counter trend, right? We knew we were taking a counter trend trade. We got it. And by the way, the counter trend trade, they can work, and they did work on iRobot. And it's kind of working on Monster, although it's not really a counter trend trade. Anyway, I'm just saying, if you're playing Roku, as crazy as it sounds, I would buy a dip. I mean, that's it. Or if you're trading it, if you're day trading it bullish, I mean, this stock is a very fun stock to day trade. You can see on a 5-minute chart, it got above. I mean, look at this classic. Oh, this is just, I love this pattern. This is one of my favorite patterns. One of my favorite patterns. I have a lot of favorite patterns. I know you guys are probably like, when does he not have a favorite pattern? This is hard to describe, but I'll do my best. Previous bullish day, right? Everyone's bullish. Everything is great, blah, 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 blah. You get a sell-off, so you're below all the moving averages on a 5-minute chart, all right? We're below all the moving averages on a 5-minute chart. And then I think I should ask, let me ask David really quick if our algo buster that we're programming in the algo class triggered. I know some that did, and some of them played out really well. But per the algo buster, depending on how you set up the trade, it very well could have triggered you right here, or yeah, right there with a stop somewhere down here. So that could have been a great algo trade. But one of my favorite patterns. So we're bearish below all the moving averages. First day, very strong bullish gap. And then it gets above all the bullish average, all the moving averages. It closes above the previous high of the day. At that price, you're fully above all the moving averages. Yesterday was a bullish candle. Everything about yesterday was a bullish gap. Everything was good, blah, 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 blah. You got to close above the high of the day. You're now above all the moving averages. Buy the dip. So obviously, no one in this class is going bullish right here. Right? Right, guys? No one's going bullish there after 1 bullish candle, 2 bullish candle, 3 bullish candle. Oh, and it's already gone from here. It's already moved $1.50. So none of us are getting in there. But once this candle happens, you're going to go, okay, let me buy a dip. I'll buy at the high of the previous high of the day. So I'll buy there with a stop down there somewhere. And that would have been a great trade. Or if you waited for that actual pullback to get in, and then you waited for the candle, once this high wave candle comes in right there, you're saying, okay, I'm going to get in above that high wave candle, probably again with a stop down here somewhere. And you'd have gotten triggered in 15 minutes later, and then the trend just ran to the moon. So that's what's called a continuation play. All right, continuation play. So when the previous day is bullish or bearish, doesn't matter. So the previous day has a good trend, and then it gets back into the trend again from yesterday, and just ride it. That's a beautiful move. On 1,000 shares, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1,000 shares. That's $1,000 right there. That's $1 per share. Bill paying money. Go get you some. Money grows on trees, folks. It's everywhere. That ATM, baby. The stock market is your ATM. This stuff is easy. Just buy lower. All right, Roku's done. Before I go on, let's go look at Monster. MNST. Mark says, I need bigger trees. Oh man, there's plenty of them out there. Plenty. So why did I exit Monster today? 2 reasons. Reason number 1, all right, I'm going to be straight up honest with everyone. I got a little emotionally compromised for like 10 minutes at one point today, right before I went on my walk. So I was like, I need to go on a walk because I missed a target on 3 trades today in the first early morning by pennies. So I get stopped out on futures by a tick. And then I miss my target on Litecoin, which we're going to talk about in a moment, by 5 pennies. 5. And I was all like huffled for a little bit. And then Monster has this beautiful gap down, trades nice and low. We were up 1.5 hours at one point on Monster today, and then it just starts reversing. And man, I was like, oh. So here's the good news. So the good news is when I knew I needed to do a walk, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do a walk. It was right here. So I was like, I'm gonna go do my walk, get my mind right, because it was straight up gorgeous in Nashville today. Straight up gorge. Not one cloud in the sky. Birds were all like excited. That tells me it's going to snow any day now, but just really, really beautiful weather. So I come back and I was like, okay, cool. Monster's much lower than there, so let's buy it back. And buying it back was great. So the reason I had to buy it back today is because I won small on Walgreens, which I'll talk about in just a moment. That was a day trade, won very small, almost not even worth counting. So I lost an R on futures. I won small on Walgreens, and I need to lock in a small win on Monster. I was too preoccupied this morning to let everyone know to exit there. That's the thing. If it was by myself and no one else is in this trade, I'm exiting 8 minutes into market open all day. Because again, now if you're wondering why, keep in mind, so I'm about to leave, about to go on a trip. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done anything. But I'm most likely going to be locking in any swing trades if I'm profitable, so I can leave Thursday with some gains for April. If it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, no big deal. Otherwise, I would just stay in the trade. And we planned it right over the last 2 or 3 days that we've been talking about that. So here's the first 5-minute chart on Monster, and this one was another potential really nice little reversal on this one. So the very, very first 5-minute candle comes in, throws a lower shadow again right around here. We were up. Look at this gap. Man, when this thing filled the gap, I was like, what are you doing? So bullish candle yesterday, bearish gap down, and then that candle comes in. I was like, wow. 7 seconds away from exiting at the low, but I just didn't have time to text everybody beforehand. So anyway, no big deal. All is good. So if you're still in Monster, great. I think you could put the stop above the high of today and at least lock in, break even. But we did exit for 0.6 Rs. It's really not that shabby if you think about it. Could have gotten an R and a half. Just 7 seconds faster. If I could just type a little faster, I think I've been out of Monster. So anyway, I'm out of MNST, and if everyone else is in, you're more than welcome to stay in. Just let me know when you exit, and I'll keep tabs on that one for you. Okay, cool. So that's Monster Beverages. So let's go look at Walgreens and Walgreens today. This was another one too. That was, for some reason, like the first 30 minutes of the day, I was just in a bad mood. Bad, I don't know why, man. Was not. When I say bad mood, it's a relative term, This wasn't a good day. I don't know what was going on. I knew I had to get away from the computer though. I was like, I'm about to do something stupid. Let me just get away from the computer. So this trade, why was I mad at this trade? I was so mad at this trade. Because this was such a good trade. It was so classic, man. Down 12%. It's Walgreens. I was thinking to myself, how is this not going any higher? Beautiful fade. Again, I got in too high because once I post a trade on Slack, I know a lot of other people are going to trade that, very similar trade. And so I felt bad if I adjusted it because I really wanted to get in like here. And I think that would have made me a little bit less worried because I liked the pullback anyway. So I was that guy. Bullish candle, breakout. I buy the breakout. 3 candles in a row. Could have easily done a limit buy, 20 cents lower on Walgreens. So long story short, most traders who are in Walgreens hold this thing for an hour. And once this volume came in right here, that was a tweezer bottom. So those candles, 55.70, 55.70, I was like, you know what? If I lose on this thing, whatever. No one likes losing on a trade, but I was thinking to myself, this is a really good fade. It obviously doesn't look like it's going to work, so no big deal. So once I got the stop moved, I did post in Slack. I was like, guys, I'm just going to exit this thing for a very, very small gain. As soon as it pops, I'm out. So pretty much on this candle, got out on that candle for 0.112 Rs. So I just mark it out, flattened out, pretty much around like 56.17, and that was it. Now, the thing that redeemed it is I was like, wow, that was a great exit. And then I thought, could have shorted it though. Your brain does all that thing for you. So it could have gone short right there, didn't. And that's pretty much it. That was my Walgreens story for today. One very small, it was an obvious fade, but it didn't fade. And guess who has 2 fingers and is going to be watching this one for a fade tomorrow? At some point, Walgreens is going to fade. That is huge volume. I'm pretty sure it's Walgreens still. So they do something. People still go there. It could go a little bit lower. This is the monthly chart. I have 0 position presently in Walgreens. But if it trades down to 50, great. Buy it there. But I will be just keeping an eye on Walgreens for a gap up or some type of move, for some type of fade higher to get inside this gap. So feel free to keep your eyes peeled for that. Here's Lyft. Arabia says, what's with the boots? So it's a British company that bought out Walgreens. I forget their name, but it has something to do with boots. Yeah, it's a British company that they own a bunch of small convenience stores, and it's like Boots and Things or something like that. Boots and stuff. And so they said, hey, we're gonna merge and buy out Walgreens. And that was, I think, like 2 years ago for, $55 billion or something like that. So that's what it is. It's a British company that they technically are owned by. Good question. So in Lyft today, I feel like this was a very obvious fade as well. 2 massive bearish days in a row, gapping down today. And here's the 5-minute chart. Now, I did not do this trade, didn't have any part of it for no particular reason other than I was just running around this morning like a chicken with its head cut off. This was a great, great fade. So it gapped down. Everyone in the world, who has been selling short or not selling short, everyone who has been in the trade, right? Same sentiment applies. They start buying, runs up, trades back down to the low of the day. You get a beautiful little double bottom pattern. I could have gone bullish right here if I was around. I just wasn't around. That would have been a nice little fade. I mean, it's $1.50 of a move. I wouldn't have caught everything, but it wouldn't have been a terrible trade. Probably would have gotten 0.7 Rs out of it or so. And that's pretty much what I mentioned. You should have all gotten a Lyft IPO from Abu. And the video that I did was pretty much looking at Spotify. Even though they're not even close in the same industry, just the candles are kind of similar. So you had a big bearish day, and then it gapped down and then kind of rallied. So keep your eyes on Lyft to do pretty much this tomorrow. I think it's going to gap up and then fade. So I'm going to write this down because tomorrow is Wednesday. So we still going to be very, very hard to short. Wednesday morning. Lyft, gap up and fade, then buy late afternoon Wednesday for swing, question mark? Okay, so we'll see. If it looks something like this candle, I might take a stab at it. See if we can start catching it. Because all I need is some candles on the screen, my friends, and then I can start the analysis. And we got some candles. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This thing gaps up above 72, which I'm not saying is going to happen, but if that does, everyone and their mom's going to go long on that thing, and then they're going to get shook out. And oh yeah, that's a beautiful little trade. Okay. Start watching lift. Now, if it gaps down, just throw everything I said out the window. If it gaps down, whatever. It looks like lift's going lower. Okay. That's LYFT. Next on the list, woo, Facebook with an upgrade today. I'm learning from my boy Joel. We all learned together. I don't know who they got upgraded from, but someone upgraded them. And look at that gap. That's what I call an Arabia Johnson gap right there. Gapping above all of those wicks. So this is clearing every single candle since March 15th. Now, the important thing to take away, and again, I love these candlestick patterns. Did we ever, well, let me rephrase, recently, have we closed above the high of that candle? And the answer is no. We haven't closed above it. We've breached above it, but we never closed above it until yesterday. So technically yesterday we closed above it, but I'll show you the sentiment that happened with these candles. Look at this volume right here. We're a bunch of people shorting Facebook right there. Tons, right? That's huge volume. Massive volume. So trades down, trades up, and people are like, oh man, I'm getting close to my stop. And then it wicks above and it has that upper shadow. And everyone who's in short's like, whew, okay, just a wick. It didn't close. Don't worry about it. We're good. So you get a bearish day and they're like, yep, see, I told you it's rolling over. Then you get a gap down. You get that high wave candle and they're thinking to themselves, oh man, it's going to start tanking. If it just closes below low of this candle. So when this candle shows up, they're thinking to themselves, well, you know, it's a little bit of a bullish candle, but now this is a flag pattern. So they're thinking, okay, it's going to do this, it's going to do this, and it's going to break lower. Well, the next day it gaps up, and they're all frightened. But they think to themselves, well, I've already held up until this high before. So since we didn't close above that high, I'm just going to keep holding my short. So what did they do when the market opened this morning? They went, oh, poo. We're gapping above, so they have to buy to cover, right? They're in short. All those traders who are in short right here, tons of volume. We can see them. They're in short. They had to buy to cover. Beautiful gap on Facebook today. And it was a retest gap, and boy, did it retest. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I saw a three-legged toad take this trade. He didn't even have his fourth leg. But do toads have legs? No, they have do they have two arms and two legs, or do you count all of their limbs legs? That's the question for the day. Do toads have arms, or are they all legs? Because they look like little arms. Steven says that's deep. It's something to think about. If you got kids, ask them. Maybe they'll know. Maybe the kids will know. I probably will Google it later. But anyway, very nice candle, high wave candle, you know, entry there, stop there, and then it just rallied from there, and that was it. Here is the 15-minute chart. 15-minute chart was nice. The 3-minute chart on Facebook was nice. So we have one conundrum. The conundrum is I'm about to leave, and this thing is getting close to my bear call spread. That is my conundrum. So, depending on what this does tomorrow, I don't think I'm going to unravel this trade, although I could be talked into it. I'm probably just going to hold. Because if it closes above here, if we get a close above here, a nice, really nice close, we get up into 180, and I'm losing my entire, spread margin. For the bear call spread, I'll be profitable for the bull put spread. So if we do that, then I think this becomes a double bottom pattern, and we retest it, and then it expires worthless. So I believe I'll hold through a breach of that resistance, and I'll make sure I post that in the chart tomorrow. But I'm fairly confident I'm just going to hold through it. Let it kind of pitter patter up here because, again, the market's a little extended. It's a touch high. So I don't want to unravel the spread or exit the spread or do something like that if the market most likely is going to pull back anyway. Now, secondly, Bob says he bought back this put sale. Congratulations, Bob. That was easy money, I feel like. I feel like you've done that before on Facebook. Selling puts. What a weird thing to do in a bullish to neutral stock. Oh, man. But again, there's a lot of people that call me crazy for being bullish in the market still. So, I don't know, whatever it is. So Facebook looks good. All right, Apple. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. You guys all know we're bullish on Apple, right? We're good on that. I think I covered that. I think we're good. I think everyone knows we're bullish on Apple. Have you heard that before? Type in a 3 if you've heard me say that before. Apple's going higher. No one's listening. Man, people out there. I was just on a show before this, and there's still people that hate Apple. Still people that hate them. And yet, this is true. I'll show you if you need me to. There was a thread of one of my good buddies who posted in his Facebook account. He goes, "Hey man, let me just read this verbatim. I'll just read it to you. I don't have to show it to you, but you guys will believe me." Okay. Where's Billy? Billy Brown, who might be on the Real Life Trading Show at some point. So Billy says, "Thinking about investing in AirPods. Those that have them, good or bad." So he's going to Facebook for public opinion. Here's the list. Husband has them. He loves them. Next person, I love mine. They just got updated, so they have wireless charging now. Hey Siri features and even more hands-off. Next guy, I'm addicted. Next person, I have the originals that had some battery issues. I enjoyed them nonetheless. I'll replace them with new ones soon. Next person, I'm finally going to get a pair too. Everyone likes them, and they're #1 selling true something. Next person says, very good. Stays in your ears surprisingly well. I didn't read that one before, but that cracks me up. Next person says, love them. Regular calls to work out on an airplane, solid investment. And then because I'm lame, I wrote, good. Your life will never be the same. And then I said, of course, buy some shares of Apple. So the thing is, people are buying AirPods. You guys know how much AirPods cost? I'll tell you, 0.49 Rs. Depends on where you go. It's half an R. Right around there. Yeah. Around half an R. They cost money, and people are buying them like hotcakes because they're great. They're so good. If you have Apple products and you don't have AirPods, you should buy them. I'm not sponsored by Apple, although I should be. If you guys know anyone in the Apple who wants to sponsor someone, throw my name. I love the fact that we closed above this candle yesterday. I love all these gaps. I love all these dojis. I love Apple. It's so bullish. I can't even stand it. So if you don't have some shares or some call options or something on Apple, I don't know how more specific I can be. Gustavo has some put sales. That's nice. Chief has some calls. Amity says, my kids are iPod touches from Santa. I think there's a typo in there somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. Mark has calls and shares. Sharon has shares. Cool. Steven says, there are other options that are better for working out and running. No denying that. I'm not going to say they're the best. They're close to the best, though. They are pretty good. They're pretty solid. They do stay in your ears surprisingly well. They're pretty much the most expensive pair of headphones you can buy ish. Anyway, cool. So we all know, I'm not saying tomorrow is going to go up to 200, by the way. Just because I'm bullish on Apple, things still take time. I could easily see this and this but today's candle on a bullish factor is like a 10 out of 10. It closed above the high of both of these bearish candles right here. Both of them. Yeah, this thing's gone. I would not be surprised if I come back from Greece and Apple's at 210. No, maybe not that high. That would be ridiculous. But maybe like 201, 202. Sure. All right. Awesome. Next on the list, Google. Now, there's some traders also who have some calls on Google. I have no positions in Google, although I'm kicking myself a little bit, very little, because right around here, I wanted to do a bull put spread on Google. And that bull put spread would have been down here, and it would have been for May. And it, the thing is, the premium was okay. That's why I didn't do it. I'm not kicking myself that hard. Premium was fair to Midland. It was like a vanilla milkshake with nothing else in it, just vanilla ice cream and milk. Tempting, but I do love milkshakes. But, I mean, it's like, that's it? There's not like a Reese's Pieces in here. You don't have nougat, like no peanut M&Ms, nothing, just vanilla and milk. Nah, wait. So that's pretty much what happened on Google, and that's it. For those who have shares of Google, which are not many of you, which is absolutely understandable. I get it. It's expensive. If you have shares of Google, just keep holding. If you have calls, just keep holding. Long-term is great. Lee says, I have a few shares of Apple and Google in my retirement account, and I hope I can retire soon while they work for me. I'm all about that. Yes. Hopefully Google one day will start paying dividends. I mean, it will be forever, but that would be great. And yes, I hope that also happens, Lee. Joanne says, I have Apple and Google in an ETF. Nice, nice. Yep, I like this gap. I like the candle today. Today's candle is a shave top candle, high in the close. Very close. Very close to a perfect shave top candle on Google. So that means if it gaps up tomorrow, it'll pull back a little bit. So, expect just a little bit of a retest tomorrow on Google. But for me, if I had a position on Google, which I don't, unfortunately, I would just have to move a bunch of stuff around. I mean, it's like if you buy one share of Google, you're buying an ounce of gold. It's kind of the same thing. Price-wise, not effective-wise. Google will outperform gold over the next 10 years, hands down. Hands down. Won't even be a contest. But, yep, that's all I got. Bullish. Okay, Netflix. So NFLX, Chiefs Daughters put sale is looking fresh. Earnings are around the corner on Netflix. And in case you were wondering, because I got a few emails asking me if I'm going to be back before earnings season, yes. I will also be back before option expiration Friday because you guys know me. Come on. Scheduled it that way. Yes, I'll be back plenty of time before option expiration Friday in April and earnings season. It is Thursday this month. That is correct. Yep, it is Thursday. Chief says she's happy with Netflix. I would be watching Netflix. I mean, Netflix looks good right here. The only question is I know I'm going to leave soon, and so I don't think I'll be able to do – I mean, tomorrow is my last day for a week or so. So I don't think I'll be able to make anything else official, by the way, just because of that, because, other people will be managing them. So if you're looking at playing Netflix, this was the pullback right here. So I mentioned on this day that if we close below here, expect a little bit more of a drop and then look to get in long. So we close below that support right there. So once we close below that support, at that point, you're looking for, again, a little bit of a lower move and a good place to go long. So if you did catch it here, congrats. If you didn't catch it there, but you caught it with the gap up, which was a bullish gap and go the next day, You got in on that day. Beautiful. So you got a bullish gap and go. Yesterday, you got an inside day candle today. Both of them have upper shadows. That thing looks good. That thing looks real good. Weekly chart looks nice. Bob says, who's got the room while you're away? Let's go check the calendar because I do not remember off the top of my head their schedule. I do not remember. All right, calendar. What do we got? By the way, Chief, is your daughter buying it back, the put sale, or is she just holding strong? So let's see. I don't have anyone listed for Monday. Let me go ask, because again, usually it's just me, so I don't have to update that very much. Give me 3 seconds. Real life trading internal. Who has Monday afternoon? I don't have it in the calendar. Okay. So it looks like Blake's Thursday, Blake's Friday, Blake's Tuesday, Blake's Wednesday, Brad's Thursday, and Brad's Friday. And I don't know the 8th and 15th. I don't know yet. So I will get that back to you, and then I'll be back on Tuesday, the 16th. Yep, great question. Chief says closing it on the 16th. Okay. Right on. So, yes, anyway, Netflix looks kind of toasty to me. I like it. CFMS, Conformis. Ooh, yes. So this is a cheapo, but it has some good volume, and it used to not be a cheapo. That's the thing. It used to be like, this was a, I wouldn't use the term hot IPO. I would say that Kramer said he loved it right here. So, didn't buy it there. But this thing just started tanking. Meow. But now you're above the 100 simple on the weekly. Volume is coming in. This is worth watching. It really is. I don't remember what they do. I think they make work uniforms. I have no idea. Healthcare or medical equipment distribution. Okay. Mark's in at 262. And keep it on the list for anyone who wants to watch it. I mean, that's realistically it. For me, I think a pullback to 208 would be toasty. You can really start considering this one as an absolute zero play, even because it's not expensive. So again, if you buy it at 2.5 and you go, okay, well, if it goes to zero, I'll lose an R. Linderman says, and my name is on some patents for knee resurfacing implants. Shoot. Dude, I hope you get that patent money. That's some money right there that I want to be on. I want to be on that royalty check money. Like, I want to write a song or come up with a patent. But I'm not smart enough to come up with a patent. And that's why Justin Linderman is, better than me. I mean, in all ways possible. So, but anyway, man, congrats. And yeah, CFMS, I would just say start looking at buying the dip on this one. I love it. All right, here's Trox. 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 So far, Mr. Squivels is on point with this one because this was drawn 2 days ago. So if I'm looking at Trox, again, not the prettiest of charts. Woo! That makes sense. So yeah, it's above the 200 on the weekly. Yeah, just let this pull back a little bit more. If it does. Break below some of these stops, some of these pivots, 12-10, something like that, if you're going to play it. A little bit of a limit buy, somewhere right around there, right in those little stop areas. That's what I got on that one. Survey Monkey. SVMK. Straight up tearing it up. Hasn't even almost pulled back. Broke out. It's got room to go. So although it does not appear that it's going to pull back to 12 area, if it does, great. But you can really start watching this thing on the hourly chart. And man, I would be pretty keen with I mean, if it pulls back to the 50, great. But I don't know how much of a pullback we're going to get on this thing. Pull back to the 50 would be nice. It does have a perfect evening star reversal. So you might want to wait until what happens tomorrow, because if it breaks these lows, it's going to go a little bit lower. The question is just how much lower. So the weekly chart looks legit. Some great volume, really good volume coming in, good closes. So believe it or not, SurveyMonkey looks bullish. Now this one, we have an official swing trade on, VKTX, and we'll leave it open for one more day, although, no, I'll just cancel it. Shoot. Didn't pull back enough. I mean, it wouldn't have filled us almost anywhere we got that set up. Because the thing is, I wanted to fill us, and then the 200 was going to be my target. That was going to be like a 1 to 1.5. All right, so we can cancel Viking Therapeutics. Oh, well. Someone once told me if you don't trade, you don't lose. So I guess I'll just have to take that advice. Redfin, oh man. If this thing just turns into a pure runner, I'm gonna cry. Like, we missed this thing by pennies. Here's the 15-minute chart, and it just opened, threw in some lower shadows, and then just started running. So I'll leave that open for another day, just in case we get like an interesting candle. This is another one of those. Watch. Let me the continuation trades. Same thing. Same exact thing. So again, when you get a really good gap previous day and you're looking at playing a continuation, you wait for it to get above all the moving averages, which is right there. So it's back above all the moving averages. 3 white candles in a row. None of you are buying there. You're most likely buying the dip off of the moving averages. Stop is going to go down there, and that's a killer trade. Right? So again, if you're looking at playing continuations, how about we do this? That sounds like a good mentorship Monday for next Monday. Next mentorship Monday. Mentorship Monday. Already have a request for debit spreads and continuation gap plays. Close above 5-minute high, above moving averages. Okay, will do. So anyway, that's Redfin. Great gap yesterday, good continuation today, and we'll leave it open. I don't think it's going to fill. We might miss it. The other one, NEW, we will leave open as well. So we'll leave open NEW. That one is also an official swing trade. Jason says, do you have a bot program for that? Maybe. Square. So Square is not really doing anything. I mean, it's going to hang out for a while. So I'm just letting you all know Square is done being great and amazing and awesome for a little bit. Not saying forever. I'm just saying, if you have shares, you probably want to do some covered calls or put sales and just wait it out. Because I did some math the other day. I don't want this to scare you or anything. But Square last year went from 30 and some change to 100. Now, I'm not that great at math, but I believe that's a 300% gain. And then it drops 50%. Right? Massive drop in the course of a few weeks. And then it has another monster move up. I mean, monsterish. This thing, yeah, 50%. 50% Square has gone up. 50. That means if you put in 10 grand, you now have 15 grand. Okay. Now, that's a big move. So it's going to hang out for a bit. I mean, nothing can do that except for Bitcoin. So here's the daily chart. So it's just going to trade sideways for a little bit. I personally, at any point in time, will love owning this thing at 65. I think that would be wonderful. If I can get it back lower than 70, that's great. I think Square just chops around and hangs out for a bit longer. And I don't think this trend line is going to draw well. So if you have, oh, it draws perfect. So if you have shares of Square, just give it some time. Maybe you're doing a covered call. Maybe you're waiting for it. Guess what, guys? It's probably going to break out while I'm gone. Right? That would make the most sense for it to do that. Market to pull back, and then it just rips, and it's at 85 in a week and a half. Probably not going to happen, but I would laugh about it if it does. So anyway, Square just doing its thing. Most of you are in put sales or shares or covered calls. Humana. My boy JL looking at Humana, wants to play this one. And I have no earthly idea what Humana is going to do. It looks like it's going to go lower. So weekly chart doesn't look great. The monthly chart doesn't look great. Yep. The daily chart looks a little bearish. Man, I mean, if I was personally in this one, I would have loved to short it at open today. That is the retest today was. Oh gosh. So here is the previous high. So that's the old support, new resistance. Boom. Resistance at open today. So now from here, if it pulls back into this candle, I mean, you could short it. If it has an inside day candle tomorrow and then it breaks the low of that, you could probably short it. It just looks weak. Now, could you go long here? Absolutely. And will it work? It very well could. I would not be surprised with as strong as this market is. But since the market could have a pullback anyway, somewhat soon, I just see weakness in this chart when I'm looking at it. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a request for Bitcoin today. BTC USD. Now, I do have to be very careful about what I say about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but I did sell some personal positions today. And I do personally plan on getting back in on some form of a dip. And this whole phase right here on Bitcoin was an accumulation period where it was trading sideways and making some magic. Here's the weekly the 200 simple. And the weekly 200 simple was the stopping point. So 32 and some change, and it came back down here, almost tweezer bottomed. And really, since February, has been going up, slowly but surely. Now, I definitely did not expect today. I woke up, looked at the charts this morning, and was like, whoa, Bitcoin is that big. From here, I think you can start buying pretty much every dip that you want. Now, it's not going to just go up to 12,000 again. Most likely, we'll get a little bit of a pullback. I think it does trade at 63, and it could even do something like this one more time just to freak everyone out, and then that'll absolutely be the bottom. Now, what if we never get that? Cool. Great. I'll probably play a breakout of this then if we don't ever get that, but I know that not all of you in here are playing cryptocurrencies, and by no means you have to at all. I do not think Bitcoin is ever going away. Now, will it be used or will it be viable to the extent of a lot of people are thinking it will? Probably not. But like I said, I don't think it's going to become a world reserve currency. I don't think everyone's going to be flocking to it. It's too volatile. Right? Who's going to want a currency that moves up and down 5% a day? But could it become a backing, an internet backing for certain other online currencies? Very possible. Could become like the digital gold. Very possible. Jake says, what platform do you use for crypto? So Jake, my man, if you want a really good course, hop over to your dashboard. I mean, I'll tell you, but I do. We do have a crypto course, right here. If you want to crush it, because I will say this is the time to start crushing it. I mean, I made a lot of money today on cryptos. Whatever fake internet money, I made a lot of it. So Bitcoin, I love this breakout. It's an unquestionable buy the dip. It will go higher, in my personal opinion. Now, the other one was Litecoin. So I have sold out of all my personal Litecoin holdings today at 72.30. That was my target. I did some fibs. Looks good. I don't believe in Litecoin at all as a long-term viable anything. I think it's a total waste of time. Absolute garbage. But that chart, whoo, man. Couldn't argue this breakout right here. I mean, I don't care. This could be beans from Nicaragua. So look at that volume in that candle. I mean, how are you not taking that trade? So I missed a very large entry right there on Litecoin by 20 pennies. I had an entry at 39.40 and it went down to 39.60. So that was rough. So I had to buy it at a little bit of a higher price. So I got in around somewhere around 41.70 or something, right around here. Broke out, added some more around here at 44, and sold today at 72.30. So that's cool. The weekly chart on Litecoin looks okay. I mean, I do think at this point it could eventually get up to 86 and some change. And again, then kind of start trading sideways. So Jake says, so I should dump my Litecoin. I do think we go higher. I do like the volume. It depends on where you bought your Litecoin. Hopefully you bought it lower than 70, or at least you were accumulating some lower than 70. If you want to sell some here, you can. And then I think 86.60 is another target. I will plan on buying more on a pullback. But long-term viability, I think I don't see any relevance at all. I do like Ethereum. I think that actually does have a lot of viability. And this is the one that I'll be buying the most of on a pullback. I will try to buy thousands. I like the volume. I like the triangle. I like the location. So the answer to your question, Jake, is I use Kraken and I use Coinbase Pro, which is the old GDAX. Those are the two that I personally use. Jason says, my buddies mine Ethereum. Tell them to keep doing it. JL says, what's a good target for beans from Nicaragua? They probably do have some coffee commodity futures somewhere. Go check that out. But yeah, this looks good, and I'm gonna buy one or two, maybe even three. I might even buy three whole Ethereums. All right, a little bit more Stitch Fix, SFIX. Ooh, this looks kind of toasty. So again, I'm not going to personally trade Stitch Fix right now just because I can't be in everything. But white candle gapping up, I love that. Big upper shadow, filled the gap, and now we're working on breaking above the 200. So we break above the 200 simple, buy the dip, and yeah, weekly chart looks pretty good. It does. So I would like to see something like this. Bloop, bloop, bloop. It could be also a little bit of a deeper, shallower, something like bloop, 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 where you actually break this low. But whatever breakout happens, then you start looking at a dip buy. Maybe you could leg into it, maybe do half and half. Half on a shorter pullback, a little bit more on a bigger pullback, and then ride it up. Okay, 3 left. Pivotal software. So I'm going to be very clear on this, on Pivotal. I do have some positions on Pivotal. I have no idea what this company does. I've looked into it. I can't figure it out. Some clouds, something, whatever the cloud is. Now, again, I've looked into it. I just don't get how they're making money. I don't understand the fundamentals of this company. I know nothing about it. But what I do know is that chart. Man, this thing looks bullish. Whoo! This chart looks good. So you got an IPO low break, which is my favorite. And I've been pumping, talking, discussing this one since the hedging with options program, which was back in here. And talking about how much I like this thing bullish, just based on the technicals. So you guys all clear with me on that one? I don't know anything about this company. I've looked into it, man. No one knows what the cloud is, or no one knows what it does. I don't know what this company does. So it's not a massive position. Okay, I take bigger positions if I understand what the company does. I understand how they make money, and I can actually buy their product. But this is, without question, in my opinion, a 1, 2, 3. This is a 4, and we will be getting a 5. I don't know how long it takes for it to just slowly grind, but the weekly chart moving averages look delish. The daily chart looks pretty good. Long terms look okay. It's going to take time because it's a wave 4. So wave 4s are never pretty. But got a protective put on April that will expire worthless, most likely. And then I'll just sit back and just see what it does. So that's Pivotal. Activision, so my boy JL, give a shout out to him, mostly because he is no longer employed. So he's quit the job. He is out. Activision. This could be a very interesting one to watch tomorrow for a day trade if it gaps up. So the 100 simple moving average on both the adjusted for dividends chart and the non-adjusted for dividends chart is pretty much battling as a resistance. Keep a close eye on this because, as I said, on the 15th of February, I do think the bottom is in on Activision. I think this is the bottom right here. Now, on a monthly chart, you still got a little bit of ways to go. So, yes, we theoretically could go lower. It's certainly possible, but you're now above all the moving averages. The pressure is starting to build. So what most likely will happen on this one to some degree is it's either going to do one of two things. We'll kind of hang out here for a little bit longer and then pop and go higher. Or we run up like the moon and then we have a nice size retest and then we go higher. One of those two things. What will be a third outlook? I mean, theoretically, we could just tank from here, barely make a new low, and then bounce. But all things lead higher on Activision, in my opinion, just looking at the wave counts. So play it whatever that looks like to you on whatever time frame. Robert Falco, I believe, is in some shares and has a covered call. And that's pretty much about it. JL says, if I'm in 44-ish stop, sounds right. 44... It's going to be a very obvious stop, but yes. I mean, that's going to be a spot where it either works. So if you have a stop, let's say at 44.21, that's going to be a position where it either works because it flies higher. And in both situations, so like I said, if it flies and if it gaps tomorrow or the next day, it'll just run. That'll be great. Or it'll trade sideways, like I said, trade up a little bit, come down a little bit. Throw in some lower shadows. Make sure everyone who has a stop low there is stopped out, and then it will bounce. So one of those two things. So keep it, have a stop there is smart, but it could be a protective put. It could be a mental stop if you like to play this a little bit of longer term. Maybe it gets to 44 and you buy some puts just as a protection. You should have got your dividends a few days back if you got some shares. And if you have enough shares, you could consider a covered call at 55 for May because there will be some premium up there as well. And last but not least, here's Nike. And I'm pulling up Nike because it actually does look a little on the weak side. Just a little bit. I might day trade Nike tomorrow if something interesting happens. This is a kind of a cute evening star. It's happening at a gap. You did get a bearish gap down today. So if we have a little bit of a continuation lower, I'll put Nike on my list tomorrow morning just to watch and see what it does. Probably nothing, most likely, but I do like this. It does have some weakness, and that's pretty much all I got on Nike. All right, team. Tomorrow will be my last day with you just for a little while. I'll be back, I promise. So what do y'all want to look at Wednesday? So here's what I got. KEG, CPRX, Alibaba, VIPS, Monster, Etsy, First Solar, AMT, NVIDIA, Bilibili, Plug, TME, NTNX, QTT, Southwest, Stars, NLSN, Alaska Airlines, which, by the way, hope we can hit our target tomorrow or Thursday. AMP, GIH, NIO, CGC, Tesla. Got it. All right, team. I'll be here tomorrow. Same time, same place. And until then, love life, live life, and trade it. You guys are rock. Bye.